What's up guys, Jimmy here, and today I want to talk about G again. And it was quite interesting what kind of reaction I received from my previous video. In case you haven't seen it, I'm gonna link it up or in the description below. You can take a look at it. It was a pretty interesting video for me because it was unusual. I don't usually do these types of rant videos, but I figured it was really about time we talked about this design philosophy that G kind of maximizes. And I got a lot of backlash for that video, partially rightfully so. I totally understand it, but on the other side, like I got criticism about stuff or claims that I never really made, and it kind of shows me, okay, like if a video explodes in a certain direction and gets people involved that usually don't see my content, I have to expect they make or they criticize me and my content for stuff that I don't really do, and they jump to conclusions very easily. And I guess it's something I really can't avoid, and I should just accept as something that will happen whenever a video becomes popular in some way. I'm very happy with the discussion that I sparked with my video though, and I want to follow up with like something that I wasn't aware of when I made the video about G. G is not broken. He is actually not broken. It's something that took me quite a lot of time to understand why I even got to the point of calling him broken. I thought a character that is so messed up when it comes to, like, I thought if the gameplay design is really bad, then it has to be tied to characters being strong. I really thought, okay, if a character, let's say you're gonna ban a character for whatever reason, it's usually because the character breaks the game because he's too strong, right? But I'm wrong about that. You can actually design a character that is weak for competitive play and would still get banned at tournaments, and everybody would agree on that. It's interesting. I thought that was impossible, but I was wrong about that, and I'm gonna give you an example of a character that you can technically make in a fighting game that would both be banned at a tournament and be weak for competitive play. So we're gonna name that character the Coin Flipper, and the character does nothing but flip a coin at the start of the round, and you're essentially getting a 50-50 chance to win or lose a particular round. A character like that would actually be very weak for competitive play. There's almost no chance you're going to make it far into the tournament with the Coin Flipper, but at the same time, people would all agree the character needs to be banned. And this is where I finally understood what the issue with G is, and why people are even complaining about characters like Laura or Armika, for example. Those are typically characters that people complain about, right? And it's not about character strength, it's simply about interaction. If a character minimizes the interactions between player 1 and player 2, people will have an issue with that, and rightfully so. The Coin Flipper essentially renders skill unnecessary to compete. And while G isn't really there, he's not the Coin Flipper. Obviously, if you're gonna play G and you're a Bronze League player and you play against Daigo, you have no chance. He will absolutely destroy you. This is still true for G, which is why there's not really an issue with him. But what G does is he's definitely getting the closest to the Coin Flipper in terms of interactions. G, once he has V-Trigger, minimizes the interaction that player 1 versus player 2 has. You're essentially getting put in a gamble situation that you can't avoid. And this is why I started complaining about the character. I thought, and I still think, G should be changed. I actually have no issues with G being stronger in the game. You can make him stronger, but take away the forced 50-50s that he gets. I think like one major change that you could do is if you do EX low into V-Trigger, that should be minus. That would be a very small change, and buff him in other directions. Something like that I would absolutely be happy with, because you might make G stronger, but at the same time you're giving us the option to actually interact with the game when G has V-Trigger, which you currently only do in a very minimalistic fashion. It's kind of messed up. Here are a couple of clips. You can take a look at these clips and just to just to see how messed up G actually is. I mean, the fact that you get absolutely annihilated so easily, and there's really no solution to this. If you go in aggressively against G to make sure he doesn't even get to trigger V-trigger, which can happen, you can actually do that, but you're also, in general, you're taking a risk, and that can backfire very, very easily. And then you're just one mix-up away from dying. It's kind of crazy how easily G gets to do that, which is why I complained about the character in the first place. I've actually talked to other players about this issue, and I sometimes hear an argument that is pretty interesting. They say it's not really G that is the problem, because G does essentially what other characters already do as well. Like Laura, or like when Balrog came out, he also had this property of V-trigger activate for free essentially, and then put you in a gamble situation, which is kind of true, but I still think G is the most extreme out of all of these characters. The fact that Laura does medium kick into V-trigger and then you're in a similar spot, which is actually true. The difference, and this is a key difference in my opinion, is the fact that one interaction leads to a massive outcome that will very, very much decide the game. It's just one interaction with G. If you get hit by that command grab on wake up, or if you get hit by anything on wake up while he's in V-trigger mode, you're very close to dying, no matter what. And this is a very extreme outcome for a single interaction. This is why I'm talking about interaction, right? Maximizing the amount of decision making that you have to make. There's really nothing wrong with a command throw, and even a character that gets you to like Laura is really good. Once she has V-trigger active, she's really, really powerful. She can force a lot of situations where you have to guess 50-50s, for example. But the difference is she doesn't get a lot out of them, right? If you get hit by a command throw with Laura, it's not a big deal. You're gonna eat a little bit of damage, and that's about it. There's really nothing scary about it. But she gets it very, like, a lot, right? She gets to do that quite a lot. But at the same time, all of those are interactions that, like, where you're making a decision. You're actively deciding, okay, what's the risk here? You're evaluating the situation and properly playing the game. With G, it's very, very few interactions actually made. And I think this is a key difference that is worth noting that separates G from characters like Laura or Armika. So yeah, the TLDR is G is not broken. I was wrong about that in my initial video, and I finally understood why. It's not about character strength, it's about maximizing interactions, and characters that minimize interactions are generally considered cheap, or people have an issue with those characters. It's also why a character like Ryu, for example, is considered honest. If you have a character that plays a zoning type of style, then in general, I mean, on the lower end, people will call that cheap, but on high end, it's considered very skillful. And the reason why that's the case is because it maximizes the interactions and the decision making that you can do there. So this kind of opens up the discussion around gameplay design a little bit, as now that we're thinking, or now that I'm thinking about interactions and maximizing that, stuff like Fireball into V-trigger from Akuma kind of breaks this design philosophy as well. And it's definitely one issue that people have with Akuma as well. There's no risk involved when Akuma does Fireball into V-trigger, and you have to take a 50-50 afterwards. There's no counterplay to that. And the question is, how much do we want to allow that? And, like, for example, if you have a weak character and you give him tools like that, you can instantly make a character pretty good. It's a very powerful tool if there's no counterplay to that, right? And that's great. I think having unique characters is always important, and G is definitely a unique character. So I'd hate to see him being changed to being like a boring and standard SF5 character. I don't want that. I really like the idea of having a lot of variety. It's just that it feels so bad when the variety comes in this form. So I'm really interested in your thoughts here. What do you think about gameplay design? What do you think about G and moving forward with new characters? Should this type of gameplay, should it be encouraged, or should characters like G or Akuma with the fireball into V-Trigger, should this kind of stuff be removed from the game? Is that something that would actually help the game, or would it make the game more boring? I have a hard time coming up with a clear answer to that question, so definitely let me know in the comments down below what do you think about this topic. So thank you so much for making it this far into the video. This is really all I have to say about G, but since you're still there, let's talk about the future of the channel a little bit and where we're heading. Currently, I'm working a lot on my workflow, and as you probably noticed, I have uploaded almost daily now, and I want to keep this daily upload schedule if possible. I'm very happy with the results so far as well. You guys have been amazing with liking, commenting, sharing my videos. This really encourages me a lot and helps me a lot to keep this a full-time job, especially now that my son is almost born. I'm gonna be a dad in a couple of weeks, and I'm probably gonna take like a week off or so. I'm not quite sure how to handle that situation, by the way. Maybe I can upload videos in advance so there won't be like a big gap, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna try to make that work, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm very excited to becoming a dad, and the fact that I can make YouTube videos and Twitch streams as my full-time job, I feel very privileged, and it wouldn't be possible without you guys supporting my channel as much as you do. And apparently you're happy with what I'm doing, so I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep improving. This has always been the case, and nothing will change about that. As I said though, once my son is here in a couple of weeks, like the due date is October 11th. He might be there a little bit sooner, but we'll have to wait and see, I guess. But yeah, once my son is here, I might take some time off, but don't worry, I absolutely plan on keeping everything alive, and I'm not going to be uploading less. I'm probably going to upload more videos since this is my job. So yeah, you can expect that. Once again, thank you so much for all the support. Take care, and I'll see you soon.